Hello, I'm joined today by Jemma Crouch from Sinclair Taylor. How are you doing, Gemma?
I'm really well, thanks. And how are you?
Yeah, I'm really good, thank you. I'm really good. Now, I think the sort of area of services that Sinclair Taylor fits into, I think it's fair in all our discussions, we've always said entirely necessary. It's a really integral part of estate agency businesses in terms of the value that you can add. Sometimes it's like overlooked in terms of how important it is because let's face it, the area of sort of getting money that is due to you, but that you've almost written off because you've moved on to other things. Sometimes not that sexy, but there's nothing sexier than receiving a check in the post that you weren't expecting.
A-
So
Absolutely.
we'll get into that a little bit, but perhaps from your perspective, if we start with the basics in terms of just the very basics of the service, in terms of if I was just looking to pursue, you know, invoice invoice debts that are outstanding, and it doesn't need to be even major debts, but it can be general items like service charges, and those sort of things. Tell us how you add value there.
Absolutely. I mean, that was a really good point that you made, David, because, sales are great, but really until that cash is in the bank, it's not a complete sale. It's definitely how we operate here. So we take debts from £50 up, and that can be service charges, ground rents, part of those payments. It could be rechargeables. Um, it could be, we do a lot of collection of like home packs, EPC certificates and things like that that have been billed but not collected. Perhaps if that that property is then withdrawn from the market. So whatever that debt is, we can help you. And as it doesn't, sometimes people can make the mistake thinking that they have to have loads and loads of debt. And that's not the case. We take kind of one-off invoices that you might be struggling with, you may have exhausted internally. We have clients that we maybe only hear from every couple of years. They just have that odd sticky invoice that they need some help on, and it could be that they've had had out a drone
Yeah,
and that's not been
yeah.
paid for, or yeah, like I said, the home packs, and it's always worth just giving us a call. We can usually help and give you some advice on that.
It's really interesting you say that because I know so many, just from my own experience as an estate agent over the years, those ancillary sort of services that you add on and you bill for that you don't necessarily provide yourself. So EPCs, floor plans, sometimes drone footage, photography, they're seen almost like as extras that get added on. And at the
Oh,
end of the day, we're not that focused on chasing that. We're really good at winning business as estate agents, and we're really good at selling houses. We are worse at having difficult conversations with clients, and sometimes actually it's easier to outsource it to somebody else to chase those sums. And it won't seem like David's being petty chasing a 75 quid invoice for an EPC, where
no.
it doesn't get in the way of the relationship.
We can definitely take the heat out of that, and that's something that we do very well. I mean, we are members of the Credit Services Association, so all of our processes, all of our conversations meet their guidelines. And it can be very frustrating for an estate agent on top of their day job to then have to do this credit control, because that's really not what they signed up to do. We kind of live and breathe that every day. We know how to engage, and it quite often needs some mediation and that kind of softer approach. And I think because they don't owe us that money, we can have that approach. And it's just a switch of tactics, really. But most of our estate agents that we talk to, they are out and about. This is not the core part of their job. And if they're
Sure.
actually taken up with a lot of credit control, chasing a £75 invoice, as you say, well, who's selling the houses? That's really that's what we will do a lot. We will take those extra jobs, and we'll do that. And as we've said, we collect invoices, collect debt, But we offer a mediation service, managing customer complaints. We do that for one of the large online estate agents. And again, often these things are very easy to resolve. It just sometimes needs a third party to come into it who can kind of see the wood for the trees.
And I think that's so important about what we're talking about in terms of the emotional. I can get very emotional about the sums that are owed to me because it's, it's money that's due to me.
Yeah, well,
Like
it's personal, isn't
yeah.
it?
And likewise with the homeowner, if they don't see eye to eye with me, it's also it doesn't get more personal than your own home. So
Yeah,
I think people tend to sort of take it personally, and you need that dispassionate, compassionate, but in a way, dispassionate in as much as you are not a connected party to step in as a fair mediator, if you like,
yeah,
in that discussion, because I think one of the things that we worry about, so if you were to sort of get 10 estate agents in a room and say, hey, what do you do with your bad debts? How do you claim them? And a lot of them, and I know this without discussion that I have with other agents, a lot of them will say, we pursue them a couple of times, then we write it off to experience. And the reason we don't pursue it further is that sometimes we are worried about reputational damage, because at the end of the day, we operate within communities, and those communities talk, and so therefore if David is seen to be aggressively pursuing an invoice, we worry about what the impact may be. But in actual fact, Gemma, that's really where Sinclair Taylor can offer some real value, because you are a third party, and you don't just handle it aggressively, you handle it formally, but you are able to act as that buffer between me and that client.
absolutely. An important part of our job is our our clients have worked hard to establish their brand reputation, especially as you say, it's a very based in the community and word of mouth recommendations. The worst thing that we could do as a debt recovery agency is come in and obliterate that good standing that they've built up. And so that is our approach. We are ethical, professional. We meet all of those guidelines that are set out, treating customers fairly. And we have to have a lot of forbearance and understanding. There are two sides to every story, and we have to balance that with recovering the monies that are owed, but also kind of listening to the customer, the homeowner, and kind of finding a balance there. And I think that we do that really well. I mean, we've recently celebrated our 25th birthday.
Congratulations.
Thank you. We've had clients with us, leading high street brands, and they've been with us for those 25 years. So it's worth thinking that we don't alienate their customers. We don't run down their reputation, because people wouldn't come back to us.
Be around,
They wouldn't come back to us. But no, we're really proud of our client retention, that we've got clients that have been with us since day one, and they're big players in the industry.
That is super impressive, and everybody that you speak to that has used your service, when I'm talking to them about testimonials, they're all super positive. I've literally never come across anybody with a bad word to say, and
Yeah.
I think this is worth getting into now. I think one of the things that you have done over the years that have made this service invaluable is really the ease of use, because as an estate agent, I sometimes those thoughts about past completions are or past clients are fleeting, and I'm already on to the next thing and I've moved on. Now you guys offer to monitor withdrawn stock without me doing anything, pretty much. I just need to sort of keep in touch with you, give you a few details, but you can sometimes pick up on things that I will miss in terms of money that might be owed. So can you just explain a little bit
Yeah.
how that works?
So we can work in two ways. We're quite proactive. So many of our clients will just send us their withdrawn listings. They will upload it to our client web, which is a secure online portal. They will just upload all of their withdrawn listings for that month. and we will just monitor them. And when we see a sale, we'll move to land registry, and that's good. For a lot of our bigger clients that have volume accounts, or they just don't have the resource there to be taking these off the system every month and sending them over to Sinclair Taylor. And I'm probably I'm going to talk about an API, but the truth is I really don't quite understand how APIs work. But
it's magic.
It's magic. But we have through a lot of our agents have maybe Repit or other CRM systems, and we're able to literally lean in and grab that data out and take out their withdrawals without them doing a thing. And then our next conversation with them may be, hey, we've got a match here. Think you're owed some money.
Yeah.
And that call is always received well. And then again, they don't really have to do anything from there. We ask to see their terms and conditions, or we ask to see an agreement just to check that everything is the I's are dotted, the T's are crossed and the I's are dotted, and then we move to that very ethical recovery. But that is it's a good integration. It has helped very busy estate agents. It's like another thing checked off their list that we can just manage that for them.
So your integration, I mean, we touched briefly on APIs, but your integrations with bigger CRM systems such as Repit, that is making life easier for agents, isn't it? In terms
Absolutely. And we have our own development team here at Sinclair Taylor, so they do all the kind of head scratching and speaking to that CRM developer to do that. So there isn't even a need for the client to get involved. They just need to say to us, yeah, connect to our CRM, and then we go off and do all the rest, because we don't want to present them with further IT problems and questions about access and things like that. So that's we're always looking for ways to make life easier for our clients, whether that be this integration with their CRM, whether that's taking on some of their branded lettering, their customer complaints. Our bread and butter service is those recovering those fees from missed sales fees. But actually, we are so much more now. We have so many other services to offer, and we're finding that we're in a position where we're kind of the first port of call for our clients to come to. They'll say, "This is our challenge," and we'll be like, "Leave it with us. We'll go off." And I think that's because of the development team that we have, the sales and marketing teams, all of those different skills that we have here that can input into our clients' businesses.
Well, that's superb. Can I just add that in all my interactions with you all as well, you're all tremendously helpful and friendly, which
that's good to hear.
Which is great. And I think it makes life so much easier really as an agent as well, that very often we'll sign up to services that we feel that we need to get involved with the nitty-gritty of the heavy lifting. So for argument's sake, if I was talking to somebody about this, they may say, "Oh, I don't want to get involved in investigations about whether this money's due." And I've said, no, you just instruct them. They get on with all of that. They'll come back to you when they've got a result. And you don't get there's none of that sort of anxiety or that nitty-gritty that the agents need to get involved with. It's tremendously kind of low touch because you have such a great process there behind the scenes.
And our team, we've got senior members of the team that have been with the business since its conception, and they have we've got directors that have been on the property ombudsman, senior estate agents. We have estate agents on our sales team, or ex-estate agents. So they have been in your position, and they can give you really good expert advice, which isn't always send your invoices over to us to collect. They can be talking to you about any kind of property matters and can advise you. And I think that is something. We are not just debt recovery. We have estate agents and guys that have been kind of living and breathing the property sector for years and years and years, without saying how old they are. And I think that's one of the things why we have good client retention, is that we've walked the walk. We know what we're
Yeah,
talking about.
you understand the world that
Yeah,
they operate in. Yeah,
we can offer really, really solid advice. And what we don't know, we'll find out and we'll come back to you with an answer.
I don't think we can ask more than that. Gemma, thank you so much for your time today.
It's been great speaking to you as